Listen, when we heard about your movie, just the title was enough to make us cheer for your success. We thought a society of magical Negroes would look dope on the screen. You could have written anything. You could have written a reclamation, the ways that voodoo and hoodoo have been demonized. You could have told a story connecting Black Americans to our African ancestry. You could have explained the ways that magic has been there all the time, how we've used it to subvert white supremacy. You could have written about how the Underground Railroad was just the name of a school. Conductors could have been the names of our wizards. You could have told us that this was our legacy. You could have said that railroads built our schools, starting from the South like rivers that spread cultures like life through magic wherever we touched. Because the fact that we thrive is magic itself. You could have told the ways that our music is laced with magic. You see, we hypnotize the world with sorrow songs. We hypnotize with call and response, with rhythm, with blues. There's something there. It's a trance. People can't help but stomp their feet, sway their hips and dance, and that's how our spells are spread. You could have created a world where HBCUs are black witches and warlocks You could have created a world where HBCUs are where black witches and warlocks are trained, where dances are how we prepare spells, and that's why our marching bands are so dope. Yes. You could have written anything, but you wrote a movie with a main character who has no friends, no community. And how sad is that for a black man? You could have written anything, and you wrote a scene where David Allen Greer tells the audience that while his father was shining a white man's shoe, that white man spit on his father's head and said he needed a little bit more spit in his shine, and instead of responding with righteous anger, Greer's father smiled and became smaller. He went home, and David Allen Greer said to us in the audience, "Isn't it better to make it home embarrassed and dehumanized than to not make it home at all?" You could have written anything, and you wrote something that doesn't make any sense at all. In a country where our default is to be seen as less than human, you realize that you taught a child that it was okay for a white man to treat us that way, and that it was our job to take it. Your argument is to make ourselves smaller so that they won't kill us, to shine less bright so that their mediocrity isn't so dim in comparison. You could have written anything, and you chose to ask a question where the favorite pastime of those you are appealing to is to lie about the bodies of black men and women. We are hidden in the margins of their history books. Our contributions are hidden in the frames. We lie hidden because they can't face the truth that despite their evil, the black people can still prosper. We can still laugh and sing and dance and clap. We can still love. They don't understand how we can move mountains through fear and courage, and they see in us that we are actually the American dream. We are the ones that build bridges over continents. You could have written anything, and you missed the real magic. You missed that real magic has nothing to do with appeasing whiteness. So why, when you could have written anything, would you create a world where magic relies on white comfort? What has white comfort given us? From the moment we were force healed, stripped of everything from clothing to language, how could we comfort the mob that lynched Thomas Moss for his success? What therapy could we offer to the scores of white folks that put Tulsa to the torch? Where is the sympathetic moment that would make a whites-only hospital admit a black patient instead of sending them away to certain death? Should we bake cookies and watch movies to prevent the government from bombing our neighborhoods like they did with John Africa in Philly? Who can we pull aside and have coffee with to make sure that a cop sees our children as children who play with toys and not monsters with weapons, so that Tamir Rice is alive today? What can we do to make sure that we don't hear George Floyd as his dying words are something that all of us have done, as he expresses humanity while something inhumane was forced on him? I can't breathe. And mama, I'm through. Where is the comfort in that? Where is our comfort for Jim Crow, for the Great Migration, for the Red Summer, for the war on drugs? I could go on. Why do we need to have empathy for the people causing us so much sorrow? Where is their humanity? You could have written anything, but when you were writing, did you think about the fact that to so many, we are still not quite human? That whiteness would never air footage of a dog being choked out by a cop? Would never put on national television a white woman being shot numerous times? You could have written anything, but where in your magical society is the question of our humanity while you spend time affirming white people's emotional instability? We are the ones that need peace, not them. You could have written anything, but don't you see that what you've written blames us? Because what you've actually done is say that we should be doing more to put them at ease. Surely you realize that racism is a monster, a grand cyclops, a grand dragon, a grand magi, and even if it is asleep, even if it is docile, it can only be so for a moment. And we can never, ever turn our backs on it. We can never rest. We can never have our own peace. And when it is waked, is it our fault that ignorance and hatred lashes out, makes more deaths, more hashtags, more laws that hides our history, more ways to keep us out of systems built to exclude us in the first place, more excuses about how it's our fault we aren't there in the first place? You could have written anything because we are so many things. You could have made a society of magical Negroes anything you wanted. And I wonder if you see that white supremacy has atrophied your imagination, put limitations on even what you are able to conceive. And can you see how sad that is? Because we have nothing to do with the pain they cause us. That is their curse to bear. Thank you.